It's time for Hancock Unsanctioned with your host,
Justin Hancock.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Hancock here, and welcome to Hancock Unsanctioned, an all-new podcast right here for your listening pleasure, courtesy of WWAX Productions and The D. Today, we're going to talk about something that's been on my mind for the past few hours, you could say. If you're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like I am, you know of Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and even Master Splinter, and maybe even the Shredder. But if you also watch Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon Studios has launched a new animated series titled Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen the pilot episode for this series. I have. And let me just start off by saying, Nickelodeon, you had a good thing going with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know why in the blue hell you would cancel it for this, what I would say is garbage, and we'll get into that in a second. Let me just go into a little bit of details about this said pilot. Okay. First off, my first impression of it was Nickelodeon's going for more of the younger children age limit, the viewing limit, similar to what Cartoon Network is doing now. But in a way, Cartoon Network also ruined shows from my childhood by dumbing it down basically for a younger fan base, ruining these shows and these characters' prestige in a certain aspect. For crying out loud, Nickelodeon, you have Master Splinter as an overweight, low-down piece of crap that sits in a freaking recliner eating potato chips and any food that he can find, watching TV literally non-stop 24/7. Why? Just why? Master Splinter is supposed to be the backbone of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If he's sitting on his ass doing absolutely nothing, how the heck did they get to where they are? Who trained them? How did they learn the martial arts? Oh wait, maybe they're not into martial arts. Maybe they're not Ninja Turtles. Because from what this pilot gave the impression to me of is they're superheroes. Why? Because they're not trained in the original concept of martial arts, with the scythes, with the nunchucks, with the bow staffs. Now their weapons are magical. They're filled with magical energy that gives them powers and allows them to use abilities that you would see in the Marvel Universe, basically. Which I honestly have to say is an interesting take. It's new and it's fresh. But in my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to work. And I think this show is going to fail miserably. I'm sorry. From what I understand, though, a good aspect of this show is they're staying true to a certain point from the original comics, because April O'Neil is now African American, which is actually a well played move by Nickelodeon. In most of the series that you see, April O'Neil is Caucasian, and now she's African American. So I see that they're trying to keep things fresh and change things up. And sometimes nothing's wrong with change. Another thing I have to say about it is, where is Shredder? Shredder has always been the arch rival of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. whether you go back to the very beginning, back in the 80s, up until now. But now there is no Shredder. There's no sign of Shredder. I don't know if they're going to build up over the course of a storyline or multiple seasons to build up to the Shredder's entrance into the series, or maybe they're trying to get away from the Shredder altogether because it's been done so many times. I mean, you had the series from the 80s, you had the series from the early 2000s to like 2003, 2004, and then you had the reboot that Nickelodeon launched in like 2009, 2010, which all featured the Shredder as the main rival, the main villain of the show, the story arc. But now I can't even remember the name of the guy, but he's portrayed by John Cena. He's basically this superhuman, larger than life mutant that lives underground below New York City, and he uses this larger than life technology to fuse human DNA with animal DNA and creates his own mutant army. Now I understand that this is a fresh story arc. I mean, we've seen things from TMNT in the past with other characters, but I think this, to be completely honest with you, I had no idea there was an underground city. My brother showed me the pilot episode, and I saw them using like the magical staffs, and the city looked like futuristic or something. It gave me the vibe of Fast Forward, which was the spinoff to the 2000 series. I thought they were in the future. Yeah, I could be completely wrong on this. I mean, but that's the vibe that it gave off to me personally. So this series is basically throwing my mind all out of whack. I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people saying this, but this is my personal opinion. I respect other people's opinions as well, but this is mine. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in my personal opinion, is garbage. It is so bad, it reminds me of Cartoon Network's Teen Titans Go. Yeah, I just said that. I compared Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Teen Titans Go because I absolutely despise Teen Titans Go. Don't get me wrong, they have some good things going. They just launched a movie, a feature film, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which I heard also featured a cameo from the original Teen Titans, which I'm excited for because I don't know where that's going to lead to, but that's another topic we can discuss at another time. But I don't understand why these studios are trying to dumb down these cartoons that we grew up and basically watched every Saturday morning or watched every morning at 6 a.m. before we went to school, and watched when we came home before we did our homework. This is our childhood you're talking about here, and you're basically ruining it and giving a bad taste for the series. Next thing you know, the series is probably going to wind up being canceled. Then again, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a success. If it's a success, if it winds up being a success, my hat's off to you. Another thing I want to discuss here that my brother brought up to me is Nickelodeon is bringing Michael Bay back on board to reboot the live-action TMNT series. Let me ask you this. Why in the blue hell would you bring Michael Bay back to reboot the live-action TMNT series when he's already done it and it didn't do so good the first time? Now, don't get me wrong, the first movie had some perks to it. My favorite scene was MC Mikey when they're in the elevator. That is the best part of the movie, in my opinion. The only scene that I give props to. Basically, all I saw in Michael Bay's iteration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was Transformers. He basically mech'd up Shredder's armor, made him huge, larger than life, and he basically looked like a living, breathing, walking Transformer. He looked like a samurai version of Megatron. In my opinion, Michael Bay is decent, but the films that he's produced lately haven't been that good. I mean, I enjoyed the first Transformers movie. Revenge of the Fallen was actually pretty decent, but everything after that is basically 4 hours of snooze fest. Literally, I fell asleep. I couldn't watch Dark of the Moon. I couldn't watch The Last Night. I know I'm forgetting one. There's one in between them somewhere, but I can't think of them. I mean, Michael Bay is getting ready to direct a freaking Dora the Explorer live-action movie, and she's a freaking adult. How is Dora an adult? Dora is a little kid that goes on adventures. I mean, how is this going to play out? I have absolutely no idea, but I'm sure it's going to suck too. Then again, I've said this multiple times, I could be wrong. But in my personal opinion, Nickelodeon needs to rethink their strategy, find someone who knows their research and knows the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, get rid of Michael Bay altogether, and bring in a new director who actually knows what the hell he's doing. That's just my thoughts on the matter. I mean, for crying out loud, Steven Spielberg could probably make a better Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action film than Michael Bay. And in my honest opinion, they need to create a live action franchise or a trilogy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles similar to that of the trilogy that was released in the 90s. Because I actually enjoyed the trilogy that was released in the 90s. The third installment of the film, not so much. But the first one and then the sequel, Secret of the Ooze, were actually pretty good. I actually have those on DVD. They're in my personal collection. Back to Nickelodeon. Something I forgot to mention the first go round. It's late at night. I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, so we're just going with the flow. But Nickelodeon, not just Nickelodeon, but any TMNT animated series I've seen has always featured Leonardo as the leader of the team. If you actually go back to the early comics, Raphael, if I recall correctly, was the leader of the team. And in my honest opinion, I think that Nickelodeon or any studio that has the rights to TMNT in the near future should do a series where Raphael is actually in charge, because Raphael was the man. Raphael is like the total badass of the faction. No offense to Leonardo. Leonardo is good with technology and everything. I see why they want him to be the leader, because he's the brains of the group. But Raph is like total defense. He is like the total package. He is a living, breathing, walking badass. I mean, if you go back and watch the original trilogy, he got in a freaking street fight with Casey Jones. That was awesome. If only Nickelodeon would give us something like that, but if it turns out the way things are going now, if they do go that route, that series will probably wind up on Nick at Night. Or, in another reality, if it winds up on Cartoon Network, possibly Adult Swim. But basically, guys, that's pretty much all I've got here for this episode. I just wanted to take a few minutes out of my night to discuss my opinion on this new series from Nickelodeon, because honestly, I've given these new cartoons a shot. I've given Teen Titans Go a shot. I've given the new Total Drama-Rama a shot. I mean, I've given the new Powerpuff Girls a shot. Basically, every reboot from Cartoon Network has sucked. Nickelodeon, from what I've seen in your pilot, you have a few interesting peaks in your story plot that I'm actually intrigued by. But there are also several key notes in your plot and your story that's going to kill the series altogether. I'm hoping and praying that you actually gather your writers and come up with something great for the series. I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you a second chance. I'm going to try to get into the series, but if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. This show's going to fail. But basically, yeah, that's all the time we have here for this episode, guys. This has been Hancock Unsanctioned. I'm your host, Justin Hancock. Be sure to tune in for our next episode. I'm going to be sitting down talking about the new trilogy in the Star Wars franchise with The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9. And I'm also going to bring up some personal opinions and thoughts on that, as well as some fan theories that I actually find intriguing, and some key points that I think they should actually work into the trilogy in some way, shape, or form. But as always, it's Justin Hancock. This is Hancock Unsanctioned, and I'll see you guys later. I'm out.
This has been a WWAX production.